Welcome to the Savvy Property Investors Podcast, a weekly show that delivers the best hard-hitting property industry news, business advice, and talks that will get you ascending in the real estate industry. Now, here's your host, the amazing award-winning property and business coach, best-selling author, and serial entrepreneur, Miss Sapphire Gray.
Welcome to the Savvy Property Investors Show, Episode 9. Today's topic, we're going to be discussing being a cancer survivor, which led our guests to becoming an entrepreneur and moving forward. Our guest today is Selina Cheshire, and she comes from the company Live, Thrive and Enjoy. Welcome, Selina. Thank you for joining us today. Selina Cheshire is a compassionate leader. She is a fighter for humanity, good, changing one life at a time. Her unwavering belief and perseverance became her strength. After a divorce, she moved from one brother to another, one relative to another, trying to find her feet until she eventually got to the point of self-belief and resilience. Opened a shop to use her skills as a designer so that she could be able to support herself and her children. Selina was also homeless with her 2 children and made her vow that her children would never suffer in that way again. Still, after graduating from a teacher's college, things continued to nosedive without any sign of it being changed. She made another attempt to change her life by moving to a neighboring country, working as a seamstress for over 6 months. She was trying to raise money to move either to America or the United Kingdom so she could give her children a better chance at life. With courage and determination, Selina left the country alone with just £95 between her and the poverty to embark on an unknown journey in the United Kingdom. She started afresh as a career for the elderly in a nursing home and a table cleaner at an airport. She was working tirelessly up to 12 hours in the night and then only got 4 hours sleep when she was working at the airport. She worked almost a year doing this kind of work, which almost killed her. Then she became a Christian Science nurse for 13 years. She worked horrendously and harmoniously as a Christian nurse until she was diagnosed, unfortunately, with Hodgkin and lymphoma stage 4 cancer. And that sadly changed her life and her attitude towards life for good. Selina has dealt with her traumatic life and looked for help. She carried everything on her shoulders and she was a hero. She suffered in silence and ended up having to be treated with chemotherapy that also almost killed her as well. Selina is now, praise God, a public speaker, author of 2 books, a wellness coach, and a grandmother of 2 girls. She's on a mission to educate millions of women on how to build their immune system for a better life. She's inviting other women to share the love and heal humanity. I'm Sapphire Gray, and I'll be hosting this lovely show so we can speak to Selina and learn more about her. Welcome, Selina. Lovely having you here today.
Thank you.
So how are you doing now?
I'm doing great. I just feel amazed.
Brilliant. So when did you, to get a bit of a background, how your journey, how did you first learn about having cancer? Because you was working some tireless hours. So how did you discover that?
It was really like my children, like he saw that I was suffering. Because being a Christian Science nurse or a Christian scientist, we don't look into the body. We believe in, perfection. I'm perfect as God sees me. So I didn't have a chance to look into myself and think. I could feel pain, but I was just hoping it would go away. So one day my kids, my son and my daughter, they will just say, "Mom, can you walk up the steps?" I'm actually in the house where I was when I discovered that I had cancer. So I said, why should I do that? Why should I walk up the steps? Then I saw my son's face changing. And he says, "Woman, you are not the only one who loves us. We love you." And I thought, I don't want to lose my son because of something which can be rectified. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Then he says, walk up the steps. So they came, they stood by, at the bottom of the steps whilst I was walking up the steps. 2 steps before I got to the top, I was breathless.
Wow.
I couldn't read. Then they were watching. I couldn't really breathe properly. And so my son says, you see, that's what we were talking about. If we had told you that you are sick, we were going to say no.
Yeah.
But now you have seen it.
Yeah.
And then we went to the doctor. Had already, checked. Well, I hadn't had a doctor for the past 10 years prior to that.
Yeah.
I'd never been this. I didn't have a doctor working for me or with me. So they had already looked in the area, got some forms for me to go and get checked. So we went there, and then it was just a process. This guy just said to me, "Oh, where did you come from?"
Yeah.
Oh no, that must be AIDS.
Yeah.
And he hadn't even checked me.
Wow.
So I said, I've got pain here. I didn't come for anything, but it's the pain.
Yeah.
He didn't give me anything or checked me properly or taken my high blood pressure or temperature, nothing. He just said, oh, go and get some paracetamol. So we went after 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If believers know that if the devil or error or Satan has been poked, he comes back striking a bit heavier. Yeah. After trying to say, okay, now I know I've got a problem.
Yes.
The pain was now so critical. I was in dire straits. I was in pain. I couldn't now bend because of the pain.
Wow.
So I went back to my kids and I said, now what you have started, I can't even work now. When I go to work and I try to kneel down and help a client, it's becoming terrible. And the medication the doctor gave me is not working.
Wow.
So they said, okay, we'll go back together. So first I went with my daughter. She saw what the doctor did. Then the second time, my son says, next time you go, please, I'll go with you. So we went, so we did the same thing. We went. Then he says, oh, just go and get some more paracetamols. And my son says, afterwards, he says, Mom, let's change the doctor. This doesn't work. Yes. So there were quite a few doctors or surgeries around. So we went to the one and we told him what had happened. And he says, I'm not going to waste your time or any more time. I think the only thing we can do is to book you. You go to the hospital, have some scans, taken. Then we'll take it from there. Absolutely. So that's what happened. I went. Then I think it was a week after, 2 weeks after, I phoned the surgery to ask if the results are back. And they said, yeah, they are back, but you need to phone another appointment. And I said, but I've been waiting for this for the past 2 weeks. And he says, yeah, but you need to wait to open. That was a Friday. I was hoping to go to Scotland with he was my boyfriend or we were going to just for a weekend so that I could just, relax a bit. And so I was so much in pain. So I said to him, because we were taking one of my clients, she was in the 90s. So I promised to take her to Scotland. So I said, oh, please, to my boyfriend, can you go with her? Because I think if I go, we won't enjoy. Then he says, but it's going to. Fortunately, the lady knew him. So she said, oh, that's all right. So that night around 9 o'clock, I asked my son to phone the ambulance. I was so much in pain. So I went into the ambulance came within time. They spent about 20, 30 minutes trying to see if they could give me painkillers, but the pain didn't go for an hour. So they took me to the hospital. From 10 o'clock up to about 5 o'clock in the morning, the pain was just excruciating. It wasn't going. Wow. So they ended up giving me morphine. Yes. And that made it a bit better. So I managed to go to get a bit of sleep. So, but there was one nurse who was there, who was an oncology nurse. So she was just checking, and I think she just said, I think this person, she needs to be checked a bit further. So I stayed. They couldn't give me a room. They couldn't find a room. I had to go on the side rooms where people wait. So I waited for a day or two. Then I was changed to the other one where I was given a small room of my own. And people, they didn't know what it was. They thought it was something which is contagious. One nurse came into the room. She was wearing a mask, and I was in pain. And I passed because I wanted some painkillers. I was cold. She just came, left the medication on the table, didn't say a word, and she disappeared. It was far from me. And I phoned my son and said, I didn't come into hospital to die. I think I would rather come and die at home than die in hospital. I said, can you phone them and tell them that you'll come and pick me up? Because I was just 5 minutes away from the hospital, from my home. So he phoned them. I think he got somebody around. I think after 3 hours of trying to phone the hospital, he got through. And so the manager of the night came and said, I told him what had happened. He apologized and what I said, okay, I'm a nurse. Yes, I'm not a medical nurse, but this is not what Florence Nightingale fought for. She wanted people to be treated in a better manner. So after that, after 2 days after that, I went into, they checked it, another scan, and that's when they discovered that I had cancer. And my daughter was there. So they said, do you want us to tell you in front of your daughter, or you want us to, just to wait until she goes? I said, no, just tell me when she's there. So they told me that, unfortunately, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4. And your left side of the lung is completely covered in black liquid. The other side, the right side, is 3/4 covered with black liquid. So we don't know how you survived coming here. And so we are not going to waste time. If you give permission, we'll start doing chemotherapy. I mean, that's how I knew about it. I didn't know. So it had progressed. But I don't blame anybody because I never used to go to the doctor. I thought I was,
your own doctor.
The Christ. And that's the point, taking care of myself.
Yeah. And that's the point why I really wanted you to share how you discovered, because sometimes as working mums or people, and as we go through life, we never seem to go to the doctor to do our checks until it's too late. And I find that most with people that are in business and working, they're working tireless hours and not looking after themselves. But what we don't realize is that when we don't look after ourselves, then if something should happen to us, who's going to look after our loved ones? Who's going to look after, our businesses if we pass because of it? So it's always wise to always do monthly checks on ourselves. It's like if you have a car, always liken it to a car. You wouldn't run a car without doing the MOT. You wouldn't run a car without servicing it. So why we treat an inanimate object so well, but not treat ourselves as human beings so well?
True. I mean, even the computers we use, we reboot them. If we don't, they slow down.
Yeah.
So
we don't treat ourselves the same as well. So what is the one thing that you're taken for granted before before undergoing this treatment? What do you think that you felt like, I should have done this, and it's made you have this awakening moment in your head now?
I was born a Christian. I'm a Christian. But the thing is, like, when I'm working as a Christian Science, I was, thinking, because I work for God, I don't have to worry about, I forgot to think about me, to pray for me, so that even whatever I went through, because, if it's like negative, I go and work with a patient who is not feeling well, who has cancer. I remember one of my patients, she had lost an eye because she also, because as a Christian Scientist, We don't believe in looking at the evidence. We believe in prayer. Okay, God is taking care of it. Change this. So that's why I thought, okay, I didn't protect myself. I didn't look what I was eating. Guide my thoughts to think, am I thinking right? I didn't, like surround myself with positive people who can say yes. Yes, I know Christians there, but it's like, okay, I think they just think, okay, we are here together. You read maybe the Bible verse and then you don't take it to heart because you are in it. You think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even as coaches. Sometimes we need to look after ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves, but sometimes we don't.
Yeah, we have to look after ourselves, and we have to sort of build our business around ourselves being healthy as well. So how did you kick off your entrepreneurial journey then? Because obviously this had triggered something in you to say, you know what, I now need to build out something to help others. What made you start your business?
When I went through chemotherapy, it almost killed me.
Yes.
I had ulcers from my mouth, tongue, throat, chest. I couldn't eat. I couldn't even swallow my own saliva. It was difficult. So what happened is, like, when I went after that, I thought, my sister sent me a video or some message and say, take okra, ask your daughter or ask Samantha to buy some okra, fresh okra, cut it into small pieces and put hot water in a flask, then drink the juice.
Yeah.
And I thought that saved me because of the ulcers, the hospital people. It was it started on a Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nobody looked at me. Nobody thought, what can we give here to take over the weekend? Not even a drip. So I thought, okay, what can I do for myself? I need to do something. If I'm not going to do it, I'm going to die. So I thought, okay, I'll drink that. Slowly, I drank that. I had, some fruits, which it was just sipping. Couldn't swallow. And that really helped me. Water, fruit, okra, water. I was just alternating. Even if it was a sip, it helped me. And then after that, I thought, wow, I started eating things from home. I had a doctor who said from my country, from Zimbabwe, my daughter, a friend of mine researched him and gave me the name. So my daughter found him and he said, now sugar, stop the meat, stop the dairy products right now and look for, some organic things in this. So he gave us a list. So that's what we did. And then I saw myself coming up. I ended up, my one nurse who was doing, understanding me without my permission. She came back on Monday and found me. I was better. She said, what did you do? And I said, why are you asking me? She says, because when I was home, I thought we didn't give you some things to help you. So why didn't you call?
Exactly.
I just didn't know about it. So I thought, okay. From there, I just thought, okay, I have to think positive thoughts. I have to eat consciously. I have to surround myself with people who encourage me. So our group, because I couldn't, I couldn't walk around. I would only sit up, propelled in the chair.
Wow.
I had a commode pad by the bedside. I couldn't even wash myself. At times, I couldn't feed myself. So it's like, okay, I thought those people, they used to, pump life into me, saying, Selina, you are a survivor. You are here for a reason. You are not going to die. We are going to be in this together. So that helped me. And then afterwards, I got supplements. I would eat. Then I did some, I would have 5 times a day, a liter of smoothie, green smoothie. Yes. I did that for a week, just smoothing. And then eat, every 3 hours, I would have something because I was so hungry because of the strong medication I was taking.
Mm-hmm.
So now I thought, okay, I've got all this medication in me. What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? So I needed to detoxify, remove those toxins. Because I was, studying, reading. I removed the toxins and my body started coming back. My hair grew because my hair, it was as flat as here. So it's like, okay, it started coming. I said to my son, oh, my hair is coming. It's growing again. So I was so excited. The other thing which made me want to be a business person or an entrepreneur, I tried to go back to my workplace. And then I went back. Then I thought, I need to share my story with the world. I need to write a book. And this was from one of the doctors who healed me. He says, I think you need to write a book because what you survived, we've never seen it before.
Wow.
Because when you came in, we thought you were just a number, but now you've survived. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. So I started, as it was a thought. I looked for a title and the cover book, and then I just posted it on Facebook. And then I wrote, thanking at the back of the book. I said, okay, I just want the doctors who were there for me. And above all, thank God who saved my life.
Yes.
So, but then somebody from my church or from my workplace saw it and posted it to the manager. And the manager who was then, she says, as a Christian Science nurse, you're not supposed to tell the world that you went to the hospital and the doctors, you give power to the doctors. And I said, no, I'm not giving power to the doctors. I said, they helped me. That I can't say. Because after going through chemotherapy, they wanted me to have radiotherapy, which I said no to. But I said, no, where I am now, I can pray for myself. I can work for myself. I don't want to have any more. Because they had said it's almost 50-50. I might have the same symptoms or I might not. So I thought, what I went through, I don't want to go through it again. So I'm not going to have radiotherapy. They said, oh, you're going to die. I said, if I die, I'm at peace. I'm not going to complain, but I'm not going through that again. So that's when I thought, okay, let me write this book. Then they said, no, don't write it. They gave me 3 months to say, if you want to continue with your book, we give you 3 months to pray about it. If you decide to stay as a Christian Science nurse, you forget about the book. So I knew what I wanted. Yes. I thought, because I was posting about what people are eating, smoothies, what helped me and whatever. And I said, okay, fine. 3 months passed. On the dot, she texted me, Selina, it's time for our meeting. You remember we said I gave you 3 months. And I said, okay. So I went to the meeting. She says, what have you decided to do? Get this clear. It will be hard for you to come back in the journal if you don't want to stay on the journal now. And then you want to advertise yourself as a Christian Science nurse. So nobody, nursing facility can take you to work at the place. And I said, you know what? I'm not bothered. I can do what God wants me to do. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I will write my book. I trained with Andy Harrington.
What was the book title?
My pain, my teacher.
Brilliant.
My pain, my teacher.
Yeah. And that must have helped so many people as well.
To train,
yeah. It really must have. So
it's still helping. People are still reading it.
Absolutely. So, Selina, I want to take a short break. So, everyone, join us after a break with more insights from Selina.
This week's episode of the Savvy Property Investors Podcast was brought to you by our sponsor, the Savvy Women Group. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to our website, www.savvywomen.co.uk, to gain access to our free resources and more insights about our guest speaker today. Remember, we make your business our business, so you can unlock your full potential and improve your quality of life.
Welcome back, Selina. Thank you so much for doing a deep dive on your personal journey through surviving cancer. and, you know, all the other things that you actually survived, and being able to publish 2 books and being able to really pour into others as well, your community. So what is the challenges that you faced when you were starting to on your entrepreneurial journey, building out your business? Did you come across any challenges?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, okay, I was used to working on a 9-to-5 job. I never did, like any business. So it's like, what do I do first? What can I do to make a living? Which is different from working for somebody else.
Yes.
Then I thought, okay, I'll become a public speaker.
Nice.
I trained with Andy Harrington, and then I did that. But then I didn't meet their criteria of saying, okay, working one-on-one with them as they'd promised, because they said you have to have a recording of 1 hour. And so I went out in gigs, and it was the highest I did was 45 minutes. So it's like, okay, when I sent that, they said, oh, that's enough. That's not enough for us to take you on. So I thought, okay, my door is never closed.
Tell us about the business that you've set up now and how you're helping your community.
You know, now, I'm a health coach. I help my community by encouraging them to go out, take some walks, to be in nature. How critical it is for us to just go out where we have fresh air, especially in the morning, in the evening, when it's quiet, and then you enjoy that. You connect with who you really are. You know, that's you same, so go back to soil, connect with the trees, connect with the grass. And then I do gardening. That one is for me is like, okay, I want to relax. I eat my own fresh vegetables. I love doing that. It connects me with myself. It connects me with my creator.
Lovely. What is your parting shot? What is one piece of advice you can give somebody?
Don't feel sorry for yourself.
Brilliant. I like that. I really like that, because that's the being positive and having a positive mind and continuing on that positive journey. So Selina, how can our listeners contact you and learn more about your services that you offer?
No, you can get me on Facebook, Selina Cheshire. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. And your Instagram is Live, Thrive, Enjoy. LinkedIn is my name, and then my company name is as well there, Live, Thrive, and Enjoy. I'm on Twitter as Selina Cheshire. So my email address, which is mypenmyteacher@gmail.com. And you can always get me anytime I save.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. The Savvy Property Investor Show likes to bring different topics that really resonates with our listeners and our audience. And this week we talked about being a cancer survivor with Selina. And the reason why we brought this topic, because it's about looking after yourself. And how can you survive something so devastating, yet pull through and come out the other end, running a business and really surviving and becoming that positive survivor. She shared so much personal information with us, and we're really appreciative of her time that she has spent with us today. If you want to get in touch with Selina, please hit up on her social media, and she'll be able to also share the book she read after surviving cancer. Thank you again, Selina, for joining us today. We really appreciate the time we've spent together. So if you want to take flight, Savvy Investors, come on this journey with us. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and download and share our podcast. We'll see you next week.
This week's episode of the Savvy Property Investors Podcast was brought to you by our sponsor, the Savvy Women Group. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to our website, www.savvywomen.co.uk, to gain access to our free resources and more insights about our guest speaker today. Remember, we make your business our business, so you can unlock your full potential and improve your quality of life.